As the rainy season begins, Yutris and Valentino get to experience the joys of a water park. Big changes are in store for the nursery infants as a trio of recent arrivals learn their fate. 3 pre-release teenagers are transferred between islands, leading to a confrontation. And word spreads of an extraordinary new arrival, unlike anything ever seen at Jungle School. Deep in remote jungle, an unusual day is about to unfold for the pupils of the Borneo Orangutan Survival Foundation's Jungle School. Orphans are assigned to different groups here according to their skill levels, and each group has its own forest classroom. But every so often, there's a mix-it-up day, where the youngsters get to visit someone else's classroom and explore different areas of the forest. It's also an excellent opportunity for them to broaden the socialization, which is such an important aspect of the curriculum here. Today is extra exciting for Valentino and his classmates in Forest School 2. They're visiting Group 3, whose classroom has turned into a water park. It's early in Borneo's rainy season now, and overnight, rain has flooded the stream. In the wild, torrential rain can submerge the jungle into a lake within hours. Orangutans generally don't swim, but the students have to learn how to forage during a flood. Yutris is one of the first to explore the delights of what you can do with water. Svenja, one of the Group 3 kids, has figured out how to blow bubbles. Benny copies, watched closely by Shiro. Lala has another game for her bubbles. Valentino appears a little out of his comfort zone, not really wanting to get his feet wet. But Yutris is in his element. Two-year-old Malika has chosen to avoid the stream today. And because she has a cough, her babysitters keep a close eye on her. This little loner has one of the most remarkable stories of all the orphans. She was only 1 week old when she lost her mother in the fires that raged across much of Indonesia in 2015. All her hair was burnt off. But, against all odds, the tiny infant survived. She was discovered by a woman in a village. Although she was childless, the woman was somehow able to produce milk. and suckled the helpless infant for several months. But Malika's foster mother realized she couldn't keep the growing youngster and brought her to Nyaru Menteng. After a year and a half living as a human, Malika is learning from her classmates how to be an orangutan. Over at the water park, Valentino finally decides to get his feet wet. He watches his buddy Yutris' style and starts to copy. Soon it's a splash fiesta. Learning new skills is thirsty work. Yutris and Madara demand drinks from babysitter Jumiani. And, as always, Valentino makes up the threesome. There's real affection between these three little males. Orangutans, particularly males, don't generally groom each other as much as other primates. But the bond Valentino has with Yutris transcends the rules. Plus, he gets a bonus drink. Two kilometers east of Jungle School, Palace Island on the Rungan River is one of several pre-release islands, where 29 10 to 15-year-old orangutans wait for their chance to be released back into a true wilderness. Once a day, the residents gather around the feeding platform to enjoy the daily delivery. As they eat and socialize, specialist staff known as technisi observe their progress. Palace is a little different to the other islands, as currently it's an island of misfits. Female Oni arrived at Nyaru Menteng as a baby with a strange twitch, which the vets believe she developed as a pet kept in a small cage. She successfully graduated from forest school, however, twitching her way through her lessons. 13-year-old Kesi was just a few months old when her starving mother was brutally attacked by villagers protecting their crops. It was a machete that killed Kesi's mum. And it also severed Kesi's hand as the tiny baby clung tightly to her mother's back. Kesi's disability never held her back, though, and she graduated from jungle school at the top of her class. Twelve-year-old Ruthie is also a misfit. She was born with a deformed right foot, but she also mastered her forest skills well, alongside Ayu, her best friend. These two females have been inseparable for 10 years, since baby school. And life is about to change for them. Miu and Ruthie have been chosen to move from the familiar comforts of Palace Island to the larger and wilder Bangamat Island. Kesi will also be making the move. Her climbing and foraging skills are still among the best of her age group. She's a loner, but she makes an exception for 12-year-old Satria. With his wise, handsome face, despite his rungus rash scars. He was 1 year behind Kesi at Jungle School and has been living on Palace Island for a few months. Kesi shows how much she likes him with this intimate grooming. Satria's still adjusting to island life and isn't considered ready to move on to Bangamat yet. So this budding friendship is about to come to a sudden end. Back at the Nyaru Menteng release facility, orangutans who've graduated from the pre-release islands have to be quarantined for 8 weeks before their actual release into the wild. A question mark hangs over 15-year-old Rebecca. During her medical check, an X-ray revealed white spots on her lungs. This could be tuberculosis, the same strain that affects humans. Inside the clinic, veterinarians Argus and Marios meet to review Rebecca's X-ray. With the assistance of clinic resident Munyon the civet. Argus has located an X-ray of Rebecca taken a year earlier. Surprisingly, the white spots also show up on this X-ray. It's actually good news.
This is not TB. This is just from the esophageal palate.
When she was 5 years old, Rebecca escaped from the forest school and made it to the nearby village, where she was shot at by a farmer. Her body was riddled with airgun pellets, and she was raced back to Nyaru Menteng for emergency surgery. 2 pellets couldn't be removed. And they are the white spots, which are not disadvantaging her.
Yeah, it's just superficial, yeah?
Yeah, she's looking fine. She still can be release candidate.
Although Rebecca will always carry the scars of this trauma, like Kesi and Ruthie, she's living proof that for some rescued orangutans, physical disabilities or injuries don't have to be a barrier to a life in the wild. Back at Nyaru Menteng, in a quiet corner of the compound, one cage is concealed by a tarpaulin. Word has spread about an extraordinary arrival, and some of the staff are about to inspect her. There's little that surprises the veteran caretakers here. But no one has ever seen an orangutan like Alba. The team estimates she's around 5 years old. She appears relatively calm, considering the trauma she's experienced. It was the police who notified staff at Nyarumenteng that an unusual-looking ape was being kept by villagers in a remote area. The rescue squad was dispatched and they found a weak, dehydrated youngster, wary of humans. At 5 years old, she's too young to survive on her own, and her mother was nowhere to be found. She's an albino. Her body lacks melanin, the pigment that colors skin, hair, and eyes. So Alba is snow white with blue eyes. Albinism also affects the optical nerves, causing involuntary movement of the eyes. Alba's vision is likely to get worse as she ages. The vets need a blood sample to monitor her health and test her genetics. She's a wild orangutan. But so far, Alba seems to be trusting these humans, who have her best interests at heart. Alba needs the shade of the tarpaulin as her pale skin is at risk from cancer. But it also isolates her from the other orangutans. She's completed the quarantine every orangutan goes through on arrival. But now the team faces a dilemma. Like the other orphans with no mother to bond with and learn from, this vulnerable 5-year-old needs the company of other orangutans. But no one can predict how the others might react to this strange albino classmate. So the team must decide soon whether to risk an introduction. Back at Forest Group 3, the Group 2 visitors have left their water sports for a lunch break on dry land. Valentino seems less than impressed with his orange. And 5-year-old Chinta has a new obsession with potential weapons. Chinta is one of the biggest personalities in Jungle School. She arrived as a tiny baby and has grown into a charismatic tomboy keen to experiment with whatever she can find. She begins with log rolling. Yutris is fascinated by his older schoolmate and enthusiastically copies. Orangutans have many uses for sticks. And Chinta's play could be helping her learn to choose and use tools that will help her forage. And even protect herself as she grows up. Starstruck Yutris sticks like glue to Chinta. Without their mums to copy, these orphaned orangutans watch and learn from each other. But Yutris's attempt to look cool hanging with the big kid fails. Mixing with an older age group is increasing Yutris's confidence. But just when he least expects it, Yutris becomes Chinta's whipping boy. She isn't putting all her strength into the wax, just signaling who's boss. Says Sensibly, Yutris decides it's time to get out of Dodge. Tiny Malika, with the cough, wanders away from her babysitters to explore. She's clumsy in the forest. Probably because she spent so much time with her human foster mother. She really has no ability to climb. The first thing she needs to learn is which trees are suitable. Just over a kilometre away, on the other side of Nyarumente. Some of the nursery group biggies watch a climbing lesson. Intrepid babysitter Hani encourages Mochi. But he's reluctant. Noni is eager to show how it's done and quickly gets into the swing of things. A short distance away, 3 infants who have recently joined the nursery are still quarantined, waiting for the results of their tuberculosis tests. Wine and Tiny Jari stick close to their caregiver. But 2-year-old Netta, who's one of the best climbers of her age group, fearlessly explores the treetops. Fluctuates from being needy 1 minute to playful the next. She was diagnosed with asthma when she arrived at Nyarumenteng and is being treated with a nebulizer 3 times a day. As her breathing improves, her babysitters hope she will gain confidence. The TB test results for all 3 quarantine babies are due back today, and their future depends on what they will reveal. On the Rungan River, a localized thunderstorm moves in. A common occurrence as the rainy season gets underway. It's time for the 3 Palace Island orangutans to be moved to Bangamat Island. As the team approaches, one-handed Kesi watches from near the boundary fence that protects the island from illegal logging. She seems to sense there's something different about this visit. She ignores their calls and heads up into the trees, showing her agitation at their presence. The Palace Island orangutans aren't yet as wild as those on other pre-release islands. The team is relying on food to tempt Kesi close enough to capture. But she's decided there's no such thing as a free lunch. Eventually, one Technisi takes a packet of milk powder and uses it to capture her attention. Then he tries an old trick used by many parents. Leave the bottle of milk unattended and pretend not to look. Keeping well back. It works. A quick shot will help keep her calm. The team comforts and reassures her. Her best buddy Satria is attracted by the commotion and watches from a distance. Kesi trusts the vet, but not so much the Technisi who tricked her with the milk. Transport arrives, and after a quick medical checkup, Kesi's ready for the trip. Best friends Au and Ruthie are next. Rain has transformed the ground around the platforms into a pond. Oning braves the floods to respond to the Technisi's calls. But there's no sign of Au and Ruthie. Oning, however, in true Misfit style, prefers to stand around with the transfer team. Then word comes through that a scout team has found the missing pair back on the riverbank. And soon, Ruthie and Au join Kesi on board the boats. As all three females start a new phase of their journey to the wild, Satria remains alone. Life on the island of Misfits won't be the same without the loving attention of his friend. But his time too will come. Back at Nyarumendeng, it's raining inside the socialization cage as the daily sluicing is underway. Five-year-old Pujon knows how to stay dry. He was rescued just 2 months ago and is considered too old to start classes in one of the established forest school groups. He shares this space with Unyu, Kika, and Radmala, 3 4-year-olds who were rescued wild and are wary of people. Now, all 4 orangutans wait for space on the pre-release islands. But the dynamic of this foursome is about to be changed with a new arrival. And Alba has no inkling yet that she's going to be a part of this momentous day. At 5 years old, she'll soon be considered a teenager. In the wild, if she came across other orangutans her own age, she'd want to play. But Alba has been isolated from other orangutans since she lost her mum. Now it's time to risk introducing her to some potential friends. It's impossible to know whether Alba has ever encountered any orangutans other than her mother. And no one knows how these youngsters will react to her strange appearance. The team puts Alba in a small transition cage next door to Pujon and his gang. This is a life-changing moment for Alba. Anu, Kika and Radmala retreat to the farthest corner. But Pujon acts as though he can't believe his eyes. The team watches closely as Pujon puts on a grand display, showing off all his toys. He's being super aggressive, as though he's trying to scare this unusual orangutan away. But Alba isn't impressed, which makes Pujon even more agitated. Pujon's buddies watch the show from a safe distance as he attacks Alba's feet and hands. Despite his aggression, Alba shows she's not scared of him. When he displays his food, she calmly responds. Which infuriates Pujon even more. It's not an auspicious start. Pujon's aggressive reaction could mean that Alba's only hope for company will be her human caregivers. "22 kilometers upriver, The three females from the island of Misfits arrive at their new home on Bangamat Island. Ayu is first out. Then Kesi. Then Ruthie. The girls make themselves at home on the feeding platform. Ruthie makes a beeline for Kesi's papaya. One by one, the island residents arrive to check out the newcomers. 14-year-old Ping is the first to introduce herself. Ayu ignores this invasion of her personal space. So Ping targets Kesi. But she's not ready to make a new friend either.
Banyak banget makan Kesi.
Ping tries an introductory sniff with Ruthie. Then shoves Ayu off the platform. With a head push for good measure. Ayu doesn't look happy. The Technisi keep a close eye on things. Another female, Fina, arrives. And checks out the newcomers with the customary greeting. As she picks up a takeout. A pig-tailed macaque, known as Mbing, claims the platform. Showing confidence matters more than size. He seems to sense that newbie Kesi is an easy target. Ruthie, however, isn't so easily cowed. It's time for the team to leave. Now, the girls are on their own to figure things out with their new neighbours. Back at nursery school, it's the moment of truth for quarantine kids Netta, Winay and Jari. Vet Marios gives tiny Jari a final check. Winay has had enough of medical procedures. There's good news. The tuberculosis results for all three are negative, which means they can at last join the other orangutans at jungle school. Winay and Jari are off to join the Littlies group. This is a huge moment, meeting a bunch of brand new orangutans. It seems as scary for Mima and the other Littlies as it is for Jari and Winay. It's always hard to be the newbies. After a few minutes, Boomy reaches out to Winay. But she's not ready to make friends. All she wants is babysitter Shri, And she's not going to give up. Oh well, if she can't get Shri, Hendra will do. Weene's been through a lot in her short life. But she needs to learn to get support from her new classmates. This is just going to take time for both Weene and Jari. Meanwhile, adventurous Netta is promoted straight to the Biggies group. As soon as this class realizes there's a new arrival, everyone wants to be Netta's friend. Back in the main compound, the attempt to find Alba some friends isn't going so well. Pujon is still agitated. So the team decides to remove him and give Alba a chance to meet the other three. A milk treat makes a smooth transition for Alba, but Pujon is outraged. Alba's transformation is instantaneous. She's desperate to play. But the three buddies won't let the new kid join in their games. Alba persists. But she can't get close. Alba gives up the chase. And that's when Kika reaches out to touch. And sniff. She smells like one of them. And a game of tag begins. The team's gamble has paid off. Pujon is frustrated to be left out. Now the barriers are broken, Alba makes up for lost time with her new friends. Pujon's old gang is now Alba's crew. Tonight is a special bedtime for the nursery kids. Tomorrow is moving day to a new facility, and the littlest orangutans settle down for their last night in this old baby house. Star climber Netta is tired out from her first day in the Biggies group. And Weene is out like a light. But little Jari is wide awake. Perhaps it's too bright. Nope, that didn't work. Perhaps a toy. Or a teddy. Just like with human babies, sometimes only a cuddle will do. Tomorrow will bring big changes and new adventures for these babies. But for now, it's an early night as peace settles on the old house. The day draws to a close on pre-release Bangamat Island, where Kesi and Au are still keeping to themselves as they adjust to their new home. 15-year-old Bungsu glares at Au on her way past. But for now, she's more interested in food. It looks as though Ruthie may have found herself a new best friend in Ping. Just like humans, some personalities are more welcoming than others. Sapa seems to think Ruthie is in her spot. Below, Bungsu suddenly reappears and attacks Au. She seems to have taken an instant dislike to the new arrival. Kesi heads for the trees. Females fighting is rare. When it happens in the wild, it's usually over territory and competition for food. Au grabs the chance to escape, but Bungsu's already made her point. Au seems reluctant to leave the shelter of the platform, building a nest for comfort. For Au, Kesi and Ruthie, it's been a stressful introduction to their new life on Bangamat Island. And in the coming week, 4 big males are also about to be released on Bangamat, dramatically changing the island dynamics.